What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So today I wanted to talk about horse training and tips to getting started, what you're going to need to get, and how to go about doing it. So I wrote down some things that you're going to need, whether you're a beginner or not. We'll just go over some basic stuff so everyone can figure all this out together. So first of all, let's talk about what the difference between the different XPs are. So when you look at it, you'll see training. There's training XP and there's horse XP, and I'll show you this with a buff right now. So when you see all of this, you're probably thinking, what's the difference? Mount XP is the amount of XP your horses get to level up. Training XP is your life skill. They're kind of connected in that training, like mastery and everything, affects how fast your horses will go, and also the rate it gets like skills when it levels up. But that's a little bit of a difference that confuses some people, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. So when you're going for horse training, you're going to want to have a few different things. One, you're going to want to get the trainer's clothes, and I believe you get one from the Olvia Academy, like the blue tier one. So if you're a beginner, that's just like free gear that you get. But end game, you're going for trainer's clothes, which is the Monos one, which is the best in slot. You'll notice how it gives training, mount, mastery, and, well, the movement speed is kind of irrelevant, but the other three are pretty good. Next thing you're going to want to get is a riding crop. This is basically the best thing that you can get for everything, even if you're just going from point A to B, because it gives horse speed, and then when you're AFK auto-pathing, it gives more stats and the speed to go up, and then mastery, especially for your wagon and everything. Next, you could, all your other life skill artifacts and everything. We'll talk about that in a second, but all your pre-owned Monos gear will be effective as well. And if you are Master 1 or higher, you can do a quest. It's a quest line under, I believe it is suggested, and then you'll see like the life skill one for training. You do that, and then you'll get an infinite rope, and there's a infinite sugar. But if you don't have that, that's not a big deal. You can just buy the rope and stuff off the vendor. Yeah, so then that's the gear you need to like improve and get better at it. So that's the life skill stuff. Let's talk about buffs next. So a lot of these admittedly are event buffs that you probably just have sitting from, just logging in and playing the game naturally. So there's a bunch of extra mount XP scrolls that you can get, and the Courser's Aura, the 1 hour and the 10 hour XP buffs, you want to just use those when you're setting it. And then the buffs you can buy off the market are the Stonetail Windmill, which is mount and training XP and mastery. It's kind of expensive, but I mean, it lasts for like 10 hours, so it's pretty good. And then the Celerity Draft, which is 3 versions of, will give you mountain training. So if you want to look at it, it is Celerity. Now, if you're beginning training, just leveling up, try to just use them. I know it's 10 mil each, which actually isn't even that bad these days. But the difference between these is the amount of time. So if you're AFK training, you want to have this going on longer. This is the best in slot one, but as you guys can see, there's a lot of orders. So how to fix that? In here in your currency, right now we have, let me see, we had an event that will give you a bunch of these if you need it, but there's also, I wish they would combine these, to be honest, as invoices and the seals. So if you need to get any of the Monos clothes or the riding crop, and you can't get it off the market, that's how you do that as well. So those are the options. And let's see what other gear, and I think that's all the buffs. There's also the Laura's Warm Black Tea, which gives mount XP. Actually very nice, to be honest. So don't just use these randomly. Mount XP is kind of hard to come by these days, so you want to use these when you're actually doing something like gathering or mount training. So those are the buffs you want to have going on. And then anything else, like the buffs that don't give like specifically mount XP, you want to use it as you're leveling up. So mount XP versus training XP. You know how we talked about that a minute ago? You want to use these as your horse is about to level, because that's where the XP comes in. So it's like distance space for your normal XP. And then when you want to pop everything when it levels up, because that's also a boost of everything as well. So there's some artifacts that we want to talk about. There's 3 different ones. I took a screenshot of the ones that I would use. So over here, you'll see Gone with the Wind, Into the Sunset, and Horses Over Flowers. Now, depending on what you're doing, these options will be, pretty good. I personally use Into the Sunset the most because it's a combination of the 3, and I think overall, if it puts you into a new bracket with the mastery, that's always good. Just best of all. And so one, like the Gone with the Wind is like the beginner budget option because it doesn't require an iridescent, and it's just a little bit less than Into the Sunset. So Into the Sunset is the more expensive best in slot version. And then if you're strictly going for mount XP, leveling up your horses, and you don't care too much about the training levels and mastery, you could do that one. So I don't think there's a right or wrong option. So one of the 3, one budget option, one, all stats included, and one directly from mount XP. So just keep in mind that they require an iridescent Lightstone, which is the expensive one, and then the other ones aren't too bad. So life skill Lightstones generally pay themselves off over a couple of hours, so it's worth getting anyway. So yeah, just pick the one you need of the 3. There's the combination on screen. There's like the stats it gives. And personally, I like Into the Sunset just because it's an all-in-one, and that's how you do it. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how do I go about, finding the horses? And on Videolytics, there's a site, or it's the site that shows you a lot of life skill stuff, and it shows you where all the horses' locations are. And I just took a screenshot for you, but if you want to look it up yourself, you can go to Videolytics, and then you just look at the map. There's a checkbox that's like, show horse locations. That's it. So personally, in my opinion, my favorite ones are in Heidel, Calpheon, and Duvenkroon. That's where I like to catch my horses the most. But if you want to go out of your way to, find, things that are probably not taken by other people, there are a lot of other horse trainers out there that you can just go out of the way for all that as well. But ever since they changed it a couple of months ago, they added the option so that people can get higher tier horses and higher, like the horses are higher level now, which made training a little bit more profitable. And so I think that's actually very good. So if you're trying to level horses up, basically the fastest way is through the wagon when you connect 4 horses and then just have that going. But also getting the, capturing the horses and then exchanging them through the NPC also gives you a bunch just by capturing them, and then trading them in is where the training them and everything. That's where all the XP comes in from. So I'd recommend looking at this map, and you guys can take a screenshot as well. So my favorite ones are, I would say the one where I found the higher tier horses, this is obviously RNG, is down in Calpheon and Duvenkroon. I don't know why, but I've just always had higher success there. But if you're a beginner and you don't have everything else, you could try like Avelia and Heidel, because there's a bunch of them and they're right near towns, whereas the other ones are a little bit out of the way, but it's not that big of a deal. So that's what I would recommend. And then if you really just want to go out of your way, where there's generally no people, down upper Madaya, and then down, where the individual horses are. So with that said, once again, we talked about how there's like infinite things, how there's infinite potions. There's a rope and sugar. That means you could just use it infinitely. If you don't know where to get it as a beginner, like the stuff before you get that, you can go to the stable keeper. You could also buy these off the central market as well. But you see how you could buy like basic stuff as well. And if you need carrots, I'd recommend getting the blue ones for all of that one. And I believe, let me see, you could craft a sugar, raw sugar. You can buy these, generally a bunch of these on the market. And the rope, capturing rope is over here. all these are all very cheap. So before you get the infinite one, you can just buy all of these, and then you can buy them from stable keepers as well, I believe, as far as I understand. So yeah, capturing rope, it's cheaper on the central market by a couple hundred silver if that matters to you, but ultimately very inexpensive overall. And that's all. The gears are pretty irrelevant. I would recommend beginners at least trying to go for the low gear riding crop, because it's still better than not having one. So this is something you want to buy from the vendor early on. And let's see what other things. Carrots, just it recovers the stamina of your AFK training. Should be an option to checkbox, like auto use it when it gets low or something, so you can do that one. But those are some tips I wanted to give you for horse training, and all the buffs, gear, artifacts, and Lightstone combos, and I showed you the map, and that's about it. So hopefully this was a basic guide. We could go into more detail next time on how to go about doing it, but these were just the basics of, here, what do you need to get started? Anyway, with that said, thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Would love to see you come back. We have a bunch of stuff coming up on the channel in the near future. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.